Hello, boys and girls of grade 6. I am Miss Martina Archer Semple. And today in science, we will be looking at worms. What? Worms. Yes, we will be looking at worms. And at the end of the lesson, our objective is to identify what is a worm and list the characteristics of worms. Right. Now we have to pay attention because in the midst of our lessons, from time to time, we will have questions that we will have to answer. Right. So take out your notebooks, take out your pencil, put on your listening ears. Let's get started for today. Worm. Any of the various unrelated invertebrate animals that typically have soft, slender, elongated bodies, although all worms have more than 2 layers of cells and most have long, slender bodies, the various groups of worms are different from each other in other respects. Worms are members of several invertebrate phyla, including flatworm, segmented worms, ribbon worms, roundworms, pinworms, peanut worms, spoonworms, and arrowworms. Yes, all of these different types of worms. Characteristics. What are the characteristics of this, or the similarities of worms? What they have in common? Biologists classify worms into 3 major phyla. They are flatworm, roundworm, and segmented worms. Yes, the flatworms, the roundworms, and the segmented worms. The 3 main groups of worms are the flatworms, the roundworms, and segmented worms. Worms are invertebrates. Yes, worms are invertebrates because they do not have backbones. Worms have bilateral symmetry. Worms have cells, tissues, organs, and systems. Worms have a brain and sense organs. Yes, worms have a brain and sense organs. Some worms reproduce sexually. Some worms reproduce asexually. Yes, some reproduce sexually while some reproduce asexually. Okay, first question. If you were paying attention, you would be able to answer this question correctly. Each sentence that is true about worm, you circle the letter next to it. Yes, each sentence that is true about worm, you would circle the letter next to it. A. There are 3 main groups of worms. If that is true, we circle A. Good. B now. Worms have radical symmetry. Worms have radical symmetry. C. Worms have a brain. Worms have a brain. Second question. Is it true or is it false? All worms reproduce asexually. All worms reproduce asexually. If that is true, you write true next to that question or that statement. If it is false, you write false. Now you tell me which term tells about worms. Which term tells about worms? A. Invertebrates. A. Invertebrates. B. Bilateral symmetry. B. Bilateral symmetry. Or C. Vertebrate. C. Vertebrate. Which of those statements tells about worms? Okay, let's look a little bit about flatworms. Flatworms are the simplest group of worms with bilateral symmetry. They are flat, as soft as jelly, and mostly parasitic. Yes, they are flat, as soft as jelly, and mostly parasitic. Flatworms are one of the three groups of worms. Some flatworms are parasites. Parasites live on or in another organism called a host. Yes, parasites live on or in another organism called a host. Parasites take food from its host. Tapeworms are flatworms. Yes, tapeworms are flatworms that are parasites. Some flatworms are free-living. Some flatworms are free-living. Free-living organisms do not live on or in a host. Free-living flatworms live in water or wet soil. Planarians or planarians are a kind of flatworm. They are free-living scavengers. Yes, they are free-living scavengers. Scavengers eat dead or decaying things. Scavengers eat dead or decaying things. Planarians also eat other small animals. Yes, the planarians eat other small animals. All right, this is our fourth question for the lesson. I want you to have two headings. The first heading, you put the word term, T-E-R-M, term. Under the word term, I want you to write free living. Free living. Under that, you write parasite. Parasite. Under parasite, you write the word scavenger. Scavenger. Yes, write the word scavenger. Good. Go back at the top in the same line with term. On the opposite side, write the word meaning. So we're going to identify the meaning of these terms, correct? Now, what you have to do is listen to them because I will not call them in the correct order. So you will take your pencil and your ruler and you will match them correctly. Good. So we're going to match the term with their meaning. The first meaning, A, takes food from host. First meaning, takes food from host. B, eats dead and decaying things. Eat dead and decaying things. C, does not live in or on a host. Does not live in or on a host. Right, so you're going to take your pencil and your ruler, boys and girls, and you're going to match. Is free living means taking food from host? Or does it mean eats dead and decaying things? Or does it not live in or on a host? You have to match the term with what we would have just talked about earlier and match it to the correct meaning. Okay, let's continue. Number 5. Which word tells what a parasite lives on? Which word tells what a parasite lives on? Is it A, scavenger? Is it B, host? B, host? Or is it C, larva? C, larva. Okay, number 6. Organisms that do not live in or on a host are called what? Okay, yes, we would have done it. Organisms that do not live in or on a host are called, right. Okay, let's continue. Unlike flatworms, roundworms have a digestive system that is like a tube. Yes, open at both ends. Yes, the roundworms have a digestive system that is like a tube. It open at both ends. Okay, roundworms. Roundworms are one of the 3 groups of worms. Roundworms live in many places. Some roundworms are parasites, not all. Some roundworms are parasites. Other roundworms are free-living. Roundworms have a digestive system that is open on both ends. Yes, roundworms have a digestive system that is open at both ends. Food goes into the mouth and moves through the body. Yes, food goes into the mouth and moves through the body. Waste, however, leaves through the anus. Right. Waste leaves through the anus and an opening at the other end. Let's go over that again. Waste leaves through the anus and opening at the other end. Good. All right. Now we would have listened to that. We have our seventh question now. Now, what is true about roundworms? We just talked about roundworms. What is true about roundworms? A. Some roundworms are parasites. Some roundworms are parasites. B. Roundworms have a digestive system with two openings. Roundworms have a digestive system with two openings. Roundworms can live in only one place on Earth. Roundworms can live in only one place on Earth. Now, if that is true, we would circle the correct answer, okay? Question number 8. Question number 8. Okay, now you have to draw a box, and in the box, you're going to place 3 words. One word is tube. Yes, the next one is mouth. The other one is anus. Yes. Now, I'm going to read a statement, and in this statement, you have to tell me which of those words are missing. Yes, which of those words are missing? Food enters a worm's body through the Food enters a worm's body through the tube, mouth, or anus. The food moves through the body. The food moves through the body. Waste leaves the worm's body through the Waste leaves the worm's body through the tube, mouth, anus. Which of those words have to fill in there? Let's go on to segmented worms. Now remember, we have to listen all about segmented worms because we have questions coming after the explanation. Segmented worms have bodies made up of many linked sections called segments. Yes, segmented worms have bodies made up of many linked sections called segments. Segmented worms are one of the 3 groups of worms. Remember, all the time we're talking about flatworm, roundworm, now we're at segmented worm. Segmented worms have bodies made of many parts joined in a row. Yes. Earthworms are one kind of segmented worm. Earthworm are those worms that you would take, we would go and we would dig worm bait. Yes, and we would put those worms on the hooks and we go and we fishing with it. We go and catch fishes. Right. Segmented worms have a digestive system that is open at both ends. Yes, imagine that. Both ends are open. They have a mouth and an anus. Segmented worms have a closed circulatory system. Blood stays inside tubes in their bodies. Yeah. Blood stays inside tubes in their bodies. Yes, so we have the earthworm makes tunnels in the soil. The tunnels make the soil better for plants. Earthworm waste also makes the soil better for plants. Yes. So here we come to question number 9, all about segmented worms. So you're going to tell me which is the correct or the true statement about segmented worm. We have A, B, and C. So we have to pay attention and remember what you would have just learned. Segmented worms do not have a mouth. Segmented worms do not have a mouth. B. Segmented worms have a closed circulatory system. Segmented worms have a closed circulatory system. C. An earthworm is a segmented worm. An earthworm is a segmented worm. Alright, here we're having for number 10, we have pictures and you have to tell me now these pictures which are showing segmented worms, which are showing segmented worm. Alright, and this would have brought us to the end of today's lesson. I hope you would have learned about the 3 types of worms, which is segmented worms, roundworms, and flatworms. Alright, so long boys and girls. This is Miss Martina Archisample saying be good, be safe, bye.